All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back here this Wednesday, March 6th. Fantastic afternoon thus far, even with the market slightly dipping here. I mean, we're looking pretty good across the board, though, on the CIFR trade. We had 8 p.m. from earlier, and hopefully plenty more just to boot. So great to see all of our students and members just joining us live inside our trading room. We have Andrea joining us here. He killed it earlier, actually, just before an 8 p.m. Leda, Brian, he just got back. Great to see you. Great to see all of us back inside our trading room. And if you're just joining us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., that being at Cyber Trading You, a little late to the punch there, but on the lower left, you'll see that pop up. If you're not followed or subscribed to any of our social media streams or platforms universally, at Cyber Trading You is the handle right there. But hey, I'll tell you what, this CIFR trade, I'm not going to tell you that I was like screaming this trade from the mountaintops. I really wasn't. I think the stock maybe a day or two ago, maybe even the end of last week, popped off of earnings, some news that came out. So we were following it then, but actually just throughout the early afternoon, my colleague Rich was on the ball with this one here, and he had it up on the screen, but he made a comment saying something about an iceberg order getting pulled, and at the time it was trending back up. So I'm thinking, all right, well, let me take a look. Let's see what this is about. And conveniently enough, I turned over to this trade as it was pushing back up towards this top, towards this resistance it was building, really from here. So right now, I want to see this trade try and squeeze up higher, like right now. And if it doesn't, hey, that's all right. Perhaps there still will be time to see that move materialize at least. But for now, it's up 28+%. It's like a level 1 to level 2 type of stock. It has a great order book. Pretty slow moving, to be honest with you. It's not like the fastest things these eyes have ever seen, and otherwise it's pretty cheap. So it's right up anyone's alley, I feel. So the Cipher trade CIFR. This is a crypto stock. This is a Bitcoin or Ethereum, either or, mining affiliated company. And with that, it's one that we've called out in the past. It's not like as large cap of a company as like a Coinbase, of course, which is not a mining company, but all the crypto stocks that we trade on and off, Mara, CLSK, et cetera, et cetera. So Cipher will add today. It looks pretty damn good. As far as the other crypto stocks here, my charts are a little bit of a mess, honestly, right now. So looking at this pretty quick, it seems as if, oh, you know what, actually, there we go. That's a little bit easier on the eyes. Go back to my mess of a chart afterwards, but at least showing you this screen, at least for now. The CLSK trade definitely trying to make a bounce today. Is it the best trade that we've seen so far? Hopefully there's going to be even something better. Hopefully Cipher moves with this at least, but there could be a non-Bitcoin related stock that moves off its own news on its own accord, doing its own thing. So we'll go from top to bottom with that in just a bit. But hey, maybe I'll come back to the CLSKs of the world. It's up a lot more than Mara is today. Mara's up 4% still, but CLSK, the other miner that we tend to follow, definitely has been a lot stronger overall, and today pretty much too. So I'll come back to Clean Spark at least. But let's go from top to bottom, and no better place to start than the top. APM. This thing was just a monster out of nowhere heading into the mid to late morning session. It ended up popping, of course, during pre-market hours for us, and then pulled back, kind of made lower highs a bit, meddling around sideways. So we really weren't expecting to see as clean of a pop as we got heading into the late morning. Ended up building back up, did good, but once it broke that resistance, that area around 420-ish, obviously, as you could see, all bets were off. This thing just blew the roof off the place. And even as it pulls back here, you figure, okay, well, stock went from 4 to 6 and change. That's a hell of a pop right there. All right, game over now, right? Yeah, this thing just kept giving and giving. So you don't expect it, but if you're in a trade and you're scaling out incrementally, and if you're not all the way out yet, things still going up, you have a little for fun shares that you could play around with, obviously, and you can manage the trade very loosely. You can anticipate a squeeze higher and higher, and if you don't get it, you're not going to be disappointed, right? So actually going to PLTR here. Charts are all messy here, actually, both of my 1 minutes. But PLTR here ended up making as good of a pop as we could have. And it came at least later on in the morning. It wasn't right out the gate, but with the news that came out, Palantir getting some like $178 million Army contract, you'd think that good news would lead to a squeeze up. And boy, did it. But, from here, we actually hit a home run on the level of support. I know a few of our students, they're chatting me just on the side, privately mentioning, hey, Josh, thank you. I got some option calls even on the PLTR trade. Actually, shout out to one of my students, Pablo in particular, who got in pretty much at the same time that I did on the stock, right around $24.75, a little bit around that area as it was moving back up to 25 right here. Hey, really quick, this could be as simple as anything, folks. But for all of our students here, what time do we typically expect reversals from phase one class? Luis, Brian, Leda, Andrea, of course, But what time do we typically expect reversals out there in the stock market? 10:15, 10:30, says Luis. Absolutely, absolutely. Head on. Well, for as much as this was dropping after the open, when's it going to bounce? When's it going to reverse? Now, of course, if trading was that easy where literally every stock at 10:30 sharp, come on. That's why I like to approximate and say, generally 10:15, 10:30, maybe a little bit later, but just within that vicinity, you should look to anticipate one, right? So, talk about hitting a home run there. It ended up making such a good push and kept giving throughout the morning where, scaled out incrementally. So I had some shares remaining and I didn't really care if it took me out. All right, fine. I make money. If it keeps going, even better. So it eventually took me out. I'm out on this trade now. And heading into the afternoon, Palantir, hey, I could put this back on our list. It's starting to get a little choppy, a little sideways moving. But, I'll come back to this trade at least. This and the CLSK, just as far as the side list goes. All right. So, hey, we did really good across the board. The APM trade, at least to get back to, we were talking about that just a moment ago. When you look at the order book and how empty it is, and I know, and trust me, I know that that this is a gamble. This is like going to the casino, going to Las Vegas, going to Atlantic City and just playing the slot machine. Come on, you know it. So at this stage now, it's up 700%. This thing's got like a 40, 50-cent spread at times. We're done on this trade. We're done. If you're in on this trade from a super low price still, you may not be done, right? So at that point, what do we got saying there, John? John's saying rather bet on Butler NCAA basketball. You mean these guys right there? Flying back to New York actually for the Big East tournament. Well, see family. See family. I actually got my mother's birthday next week. So if they're listening right now, I'm going to see family, mind you. But no, I'm actually going for the Big East tournament there. I might be getting front row. So you might see me on TV there for the Butler game. 4 p.m. on the 13th. So with that, at least, John, yeah, I'm hoping you're rooting Butler on too. But yeah, you have a better chance at Butler winning the national championship than seeing this to try and make another Hail Mary pop. And if it does, I'll root anyone on. But there's easier trades that we can make our money on, folks. Just again, go back to good old CIFR here, right? All right, so we keep it moving. NKGN, geez, talk about a mess. This one actually became a better trade, but man, this was up and down. It got choppy, it got hairy, and then ended up, I guess, giving you more and more across the late morning, early afternoon. But yeah, now at this point, we're done on this one. Also, that will be pretty much the theme for all of these trades now at this stage. All right, keep it moving though. Meds, we're done on this one for right now. All right, I was actually going to start this meeting off with this trade because I didn't even see this until right now, about like 10 minutes ago. What the hell happened on this thing? This happened at like 10:30 in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. 12 o'clock, I guess. I had no idea. I don't even think Rich called it out because there's no need to. I mean, for as much as it pushed up, of course, it dumped back down, but this thing is on like a $1, $2 spread right now. So obviously we know that's all untradeable. Big pass on that. RVSN, game over there for the most part. Pop and drop. I guess now it's trying to snap back up the last couple bars, but if it pops up by the end of this meeting, we'll find out. I'll go back to my Benzinga Pro scan and we'll do the thing from there. All right. HOVR, we keep it moving though. Otherwise, really, I mean, just got to be delicate at this stage in the afternoon. We got some earnings coming up this afternoon. CRWD was a grand slam last night. I know a lot of us absolutely crushed it on that one. Actually, shout out to Brian W., one of our longtime students. I think that was his best trade ever, he had mentioned. He's been killing it for a little bit. So it goes to show that there is plenty of opportunity across the board off of earnings. We got some coming up after the close today, obviously. All right, seeing just if there's anything else on the gainer side here. This PHIO I thought would have been nice. It was pushing up a little bit before this meeting started, but it didn't really have the best order book. So for it testing the highs that we had back from last week, it had an ugly rejection, came back down. So game over there. This one's tradable. I know this one is. JD just doesn't have much of a trend, though, to it now. It's very flat. All right. Has a good order book. All right, so far, we only got CIFR on our main list, and then otherwise, maybe we'll jump back to the Palantirs and Clean Sparks of the worlds out there. But let's see if there's anything looking good on the loser side. Maybe a dead cat bounce, maybe a short. This ain't bouncing. EVC, this is not bouncing right here. Yeah, we're moving on from that. Okay, we're maybe not moving on from this. Actually, we're going to stay on this for a second. So it's at 12:30. This hasn't been reopened since. That's the issue. This got halted mid-afternoon. It was dropping earlier today and got halted. Broke all-time lows, I can only assume. I'd be shocked if this is not all-time lows. Yeah. All right. Yep, we're all-time lows. So there's no historical support to work with on this trade. But the issue is it hasn't been trading in the last 2 hours. So I'm going to put this on our watch list. Get it? The CTU watch list, not meaning that we're absolutely going to trade this stock list. I mean, hey, if it just gets halted all throughout the remainder of the afternoon, then there's no play. But we're going to follow this down first. Trends down. It's actually easy to borrow on TradeStation, so you actually are able to get the shares to short. But here's the thing with that. You know and I know the closer we drop to the literal ground floor. Whoa, hello. We're open. We're open for business, and we're popping. All right. Time to wake up. What the hell just happened there? We're about to get halted on the way down technically, but it just gapped up off the reopen. I wasn't expecting that. All right there, folks. So with that in mind, game on. NYCB. I'm going to put this on the top of our watch list here. And again, it's not the CTU you must trade the stock list. You must get in the stock now list because whatever news is out on this trade, I don't know of. That's the first thing there. I don't know what news is out on this right now. We're just reacting to the move that we're seeing in front of us. So it actually just got halted again, this time because of a circuit breaker volatility-based halt. It reopened up off the news, whatever news that led to the halt to start with. So I guess game on, right? We'll take it. All of a sudden, up 29, 30%. Yehuda saying a 5.9 million share print when it reopened up off its halt. How about that, Yehuda? We talked about that just yesterday in our workshop in Traders Talk, right? And I know you were there for that because we were going over a few different moves there. You were participating, a few others as well. Excellent. And he's right on the ball. Look at that. This one's like 5.6, basically same thing. It's right there, 5.6, 5.9 at 440, right? At $4.40. That's your opening halt print on that trade. It's obviously a huge resistance line to work with going forward. I would expect this to drop off from that level afterwards and continue to pull back. And in the event where it moves back up to that price in the next 75 to 90 minutes before the close, I would expect for that to hold. All right, so NYCB on our list. There we go. From the losers list to the gainers list. You don't really see that too often. You oftentimes see from the gainers list to the losers list. Not that often. You go from losers to gainers like that within a snap of a finger, pretty much. All right, there we go. We move on. Now we'll reopen up in just a little bit there. Foot Locker. Hey, as a short, I don't think this one will be jumping up on the gainer side out of nowhere. So this one as a short, we're going to put back on our watch list here. It's on the way down. Good order book here for the time being. I would assume major support sitting on the bid at 23. I don't really have book map open or level 3 otherwise, unfortunately, for this trade just yet. But looks good. Nice short. We'll follow it. UNFI. You could say same deal here. Looking back on my historical chart here, it is not at all-time lows, but I guess kind of getting there. Just the order book I'm not really too thrilled about, so kind of comparing apples to apples there. Both look good as shorts on the way down, but pass. All right, anything else looking good here? My namesake JL back on the losers list here. Obviously, this thing's been all over the place the last like 3 days. There we go. All right, so let's see if there's anything else looking good here. You got Xerox. That could be a good short. I feel like it's been an obsolete company for a long time now, and maybe I'm wrong with that sentiment, but go back to like the late 90s here on this. Go back to like 50 years. Yeah, Xerox obviously from the dot-com bubble has dropped off from there and has only been dropping off pretty much since for the last 20 plus years. So it's at the lows today. It's actually a decent short with the Foot Locker trade there too. I'll add that to our main list. And I mean, outside of that, see if there's any other name brand stocks that are dropping with the stock market here. Maybe not down like 9, 10%, but if there's anything else looking good on the way down, let me know. Amazon, I guess you can, if you do well on that day to day as a side list stock, maybe buy option puts on it. SOXL, eh, it's just kind of making its own move there. If you do well on this trade, then you're probably going to put it on your watch list anyway. And I mean that in a good way because this is very volatile, right? And if you're a more experienced trader like Brian is, I know he is, so I'm not talking to Brian on this, I'm talking to other folks. But, hey, if there's a stock that is volatile enough, the juice is worth the squeeze more often than not, and you do well on that trade more often than not, then you know who you are, right? So that could be set across the board on a lot of different equities. For a stock like AI, actually, I didn't even see this until now. It's up 5%. This is holding up pretty well compared to the market today. But just point being, there's going to be a lot that's moving heading into the close that I'm not putting on our main list that I'd rather you kind of put to the side, at least for now. Focus on these stocks for right now, the NYCB, the Cypher trade that I'm in still, the Foot Locker and Xerox shorts. But if there is anything else, maybe around 315, 330, shortly after I'm back on the mic myself here for you, then, we'll see what's out there. All right. Let's just check Benzinga Pro before we call it here. Actually, oh shoot, I don't even have my Benzinga Pro up. Ah, shame. Slacking here. Slacking. Give me a quick sec. We're going to launch this up in just a second here. The fine folks from Benzinga Pro checking out this scan. All right, what do we got? We got meds. We got Vince. We got PPM. Bunch of crap that honestly I could tell you is not going to be good. So when we're getting charts that look like this, and charts that look like this, and order books that look like that, I think that we're calling it. All right, so hey, I like what we got here for right now, folks. For all of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Once again, I appreciate you folks sticking with us each and every day, each and every morning and afternoon. If you're interested in joining us inside our trading room, we'll scan that QR code on the top right if you're fancy with your phone, fancy with your camera, as I like to say. If you're not, actually, you may see that scrolling banner on the bottom in green, ctu.co/trial. If you go right to that basic little hyperlink right there, just type it in on your address bar, take you to a landing page. You can sign up for a week-long trial to our live trading room, get you access to our main commentary and chat board, instructors, including myself, and of course, Fausto Pugliese, 35-plus year pro within the stock market. I know that he'll be teaching our advanced class actually this time tomorrow afternoon. So, if you want to join us and get the full rendition of our services, our education, our chat board, again, just look forward to scan that QR code on the top left. Join us for a week-long trial. We look forward to seeing you there. But hey, for all of our students right now, Kathleen, Michael, Brian, Yehuda, all of us right now, Luis, great to have all of us here just joining us here. Let's see what else is out there heading into the close, folks. But after 3:15, 3:30, for stocks like NYCB, I think that we're going to have our hands full already. All right, folks. Hey, I'll be back on in just about 10, 15 minutes. Talk to you soon.